You can take my ears, but you cannot take my liberty. They want to cut off my ears like the Taliban, but what they don't know is my ears can... Happy, sleeping. I'm sorry for disturbing you.
What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? What the hell?
What are you? You're too young to smoke. What are you doing? No.
Hello everyone. Thank you for being here today. I'm excited to share a heartwarming story with you titled, The Striped Duo and Their New Toys. If you enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. Of course, if it's not your style, feel free to skip it, no hard feelings. Now, let's begin the story. The afternoon was unusually quiet in my living room, and the reason was simple. My two striped cats were both fast asleep. They lay side by side like two tiny tigers who had just finished conquering a jungle made entirely of tuna cans. Their little bellies rose and fell in perfect rhythm, like a synchronized nap performance choreographed by some invisible feline director. I stood there for a moment, smiling at the scene. Both of them looked like fluffy pillows someone had casually tossed onto the couch. One of them had his paw stretched out dramatically, as if he was reaching for an Oscar in the category of Best Sleeping Position. The other had his tongue sticking out just a little bit, which made him look like he had fallen asleep mid-snack. I had to hold back my laughter because the last thing I wanted was to wake the mighty striped nap club. They looked so peaceful, as though the world outside, with its busy streets and noisy cars, did not exist. For them, the only world that mattered was the warm couch, the sunshine spilling in through the window, and their shared dreamland full of fish, feathers, and endless belly rubs. It's funny how cats can make you pause and just enjoy the moment. I often think they're tiny Zen masters disguised as house pets. With just one nap, they remind you that sometimes life is best enjoyed by simply being still. But while they slept, I had a secret plan. Earlier that day, I had gone shopping for them and returned with a bag full of treasures, brand new cat toys. The bag was stuffed with colorful balls, feather wands, squeaky mice, and even one of those tunnel contraptions that looks like a magical portal to another dimension. I could already imagine their eyes widening in excitement, their tails flicking like over-caffeinated metronomes, and their paws swatting wildly at these new objects of joy. As I placed the bag down gently on the table, I felt like Santa Claus, but a very impatient Santa Claus who couldn't wait for morning. The cats were still asleep, of course, completely unaware of the happiness that was waiting for them. It almost felt unfair. How could they just snooze so peacefully when the feline equivalent of Disneyland was right there, waiting? I leaned down to whisper, "You two have no idea what's coming." But they didn't budge. One let out a tiny snore that sounded like a soft whistle, and the other rolled over onto his back, showing his fluffy belly like a sign that said, "Disturb me and face the consequences." So I waited. I sipped on some tea, scrolled aimlessly through my phone, and stared at the bag of toys like a kid staring at wrapped birthday presents. Finally, After what felt like centuries but was probably just 20 minutes, one of them stirred. His ears twitched. His nose sniffed the air. Could it be that he sensed the toys? Or was he just dreaming about grilled chicken again? Either way, the moment of truth was approaching. The striped duo woke up slowly, stretching like Olympic gymnasts, yawning as if they had just survived the world's most exhausting adventure. Their eyes blinked open, and then, finally, they noticed the bag. At first, they approached cautiously, like detectives investigating a mysterious crime scene. One sniffed the bag, the other circled it suspiciously. Then I pulled out the first toy, a tiny stuffed mouse with a squeaker inside. Instant chaos. The cautious detectives turned into wild hunters in less than a second. They pounced, batted, and rolled across the floor, completely abandoning all dignity. My living room transformed into a circus. Balls flew under the couch. The feather wand became the target of a synchronized attack. The tunnel was tested, rejected, and then suddenly adored when one of them realized it made a hilarious rustling sound every time he jumped inside. Their energy was so contagious that I found myself laughing out loud. It was impossible not to. The two of them looked like fuzzy clowns putting on a show just for me. One tried to drag the stuffed mouse away like a prized trophy, only to have the other swoop in like a mischievous thief. Their tails swished furiously, their paws were a blur, and their little faces radiated pure joy. After nearly an hour of nonstop chaos, the great play session finally slowed down. The striped duo collapsed in a heap, surrounded by their new toys. They looked exhausted but incredibly satisfied, like warriors resting after a victorious battle. One of them even rested his head on the squeaky mouse, as if to say, "This is mine now." The other curled up right beside him, his paw still clutching the feather wand. As I sat back and watched them drift into another nap, I couldn't help but feel happy too. These were just two little striped cats with a pile of toys, but the joy they brought into my home was immeasurable. Life can get complicated, stressful, and overwhelming, but cats, especially mine, have a way of simplifying it. They remind me that happiness doesn't always come from big events or expensive things. Sometimes, it comes from two sleepy tigers, a squeaky mouse, and the simple sound of purring filling the room. And so, my striped duo returned to their nap club, their dreams probably filled with new adventures starring squeaky mice, magical tunnels, and endless laughter. Meanwhile, I quietly promised myself that the next time life felt heavy, I would remember this moment. Two cats, a bag of toys, and a home that suddenly felt much lighter, warmer, and funnier. Life often mirrors the playful chaos of my two striped cats discovering their new toys. At first, they rested peacefully, unaware of the joy waiting for them. Much like how we sometimes drift through our routines without realizing the opportunities just around the corner. When the toys appeared, their world shifted instantly into excitement, energy, and laughter. In real life, our toys may not be feather wands or squeaky mice, but they can be simple joys, a new hobby, a walk in nature, or time spent with loved ones. Too often, we postpone happiness, waiting for the perfect moment, just as I waited for the cats to wake up. The truth is, joy is available now if we allow ourselves to embrace it. Modern life pushes us toward productivity, deadlines, and screens, but it's essential to carve out moments of play and rest. Watching the cats reminded me that balance matters. Rest fully, then engage wholeheartedly. The advice here is simple. Don't underestimate small pleasures, and don't feel guilty for making time to enjoy them. Whether it's laughter, creativity, or relaxation, these moments refresh us and give life color. Like my cats, we thrive when we allow space for both naps and play.